Oh, we're going after the meat of all meats. If you've never had a good pastrami, it's about gosh darn time. Okay, really quick, I know this is not normal, we're on the phone, but I need to tell you something. I was recently featured on one of the greatest episodes of The Burger Show of all time. That's not an exaggeration, I'm actually very excited about it. It is live now, please go to the description and go check it out. We made the fanciest burger I've ever seen in my life. It was like a gastronomical burger. So, link in the description, I'll see you there. Okay, so today we're making pastrami, which is basically corned beef that's then been seasoned and smoked, I believe. Sort of, kind of. That's probably not a really good way to describe it. It is the cured smoked meat legend of every deli in the world, really. This is like the substance of a Reuben. The rye bread, the sauerkraut, the Russian dressing, and fatty, juicy pieces of pastrami that are just oozing and yummy and so good. It's salty, smoky, it's got all these spices.
It's a beautiful thing.
And we're gonna make it completely from scratch. And I'm gonna show you the whole darn thing. So with all that said, let's make this, shall we?
Okay, so brisket can either be very easy or very hard. Depends on how you look at it, partner. Anyway, you're gonna begin with at least a 5 to 6 pound chunk of brisket. Here I have a whole brisket because I like to make big batches. Personally, I find that Wagyu is the best candidate for pastrami, but prime should work just fine. We're gonna start by separating the point from the flat. Oh my gosh, Josh, what? I'm just a wee babby, not a butcher. Look, take a deep breath. Papa believes in you. You see that thicker end to the left? That is the point. To separate, you're simply going to follow along with a large line of fat that runs in between both the flat and the brisket. Keep cutting and pulling, peeling it back, and as soon as it gets real thin, you're then just gonna cut straight through to the bottom and pull them apart. There you can see the flat on the right and the point on the left. See? Real easy. Now once it's done, you can trim any excess fat down to about a 1/2 inch, clean these failures up, and now we must fry. Oh yeah. To make that, get a very large container. This is a 12-quart Cambro, one of my favorites, and the link for mine is in the description. Add 3/4 of a cup or 156 grams of dark brown sugar, 8 ounces or 226 grams of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon or 7 grams of coriander seeds, 1 tablespoon or 13 grams of mustard seeds, 2 teaspoons or 6 grams of cloves, 2 teaspoons or 12 grams of Prague powder #1. This is a curing salt, and you can get it on Amazon. The link for that will be in the description as well. 2 teaspoons or 8 grams of hot pepper flakes, and 4 bay leaves crushed up. Okay, oh, there's more, hang on. 2 sprigs of rosemary that have been bruised, 5 cloves of garlic that have been lightly crushed, pop, pop, pow, and finally, 5 to 7 juniper berries. Then simply add in 1 gallon of water, stir that to mix until completely dissolved, and that's your brine. Then all you gotta do is chuck your meat deeply into it. Haha, don't be nasty. You wanna make sure that this is completely submerged by the brine, so if it's not, get some plastic bags, fill them with water, and use that to weigh it down. Now just pop that into the refrigerator, covered with a lid for 6 days. You can flip it halfway through the brine if needed. You'll know it's done once the meat is a pale tan or even gray. Now pull your meat out of its bath water, place it to the side, and before we smoke or season it, I would highly recommend tossing your brine and replacing it with fresh water, dropping your brine brisket into that water, and let it sit in the fridge for an additional night to help desalinate it slightly, just so it's not too salty. But you know, that's just Papa's preference. And as you know, Papa's preference is law around here, so you probably should do it. Anyway, once that's done, it's time to talk about the smock. That's smoke. Pull your brisket out of the water and drain on a paper towel, and be sure to dry it off real nicely. With additional paper towels, to make the pastrami spice, snag a blender, although you could totally do this in a mortar and pestle or a food processor. And to that, you're gonna add 1 tablespoon or 11 grams of black peppercorns, 2.5 tablespoons or 10 grams of coriander seeds, 2 teaspoons or 10 grams of mustard seeds. Give that a good old-fashioned blend, brother, into sort of a coarse, chunky powder. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't want it quite powdery, nor do I want it overly chunky. Pop it into a bowl and it should look something like this. To that, you're gonna add 1.5 tablespoons or 26 grams of light brown sugar, 1 tablespoon or 12 grams of onion powder, 1 tablespoon or 123 grams. Wait a minute, that's not right. Who wrote this voiceover? Oh wait, I did. 12 grams of garlic powder, and 1 tablespoon or 8 grams of smoked paprika. Give that some whiskey business until thoroughly combined, and you've got your spice. Season your brisket generously with the spice all over on all sides. Give him a good old-fashioned rub down. Oh. It's been a long day, Mr. Brisket. You need to relax after your little bath. Anyway, prep a smoker to 225 degrees Fahrenheit, and once the smoker is nice and hot and, well, smoking, pop in your brisket and smoke that bad boy with heavy smoke for about 6 to 7 hours, or until you reach an internal temperature of 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Then pop that fatty out of the smoker, place the brisket on a baking sheet lined with a wire rack, pour in about 2 to 3 cups of boiling water in the bottom of that tray, and tightly cover it with foil, being sure to avoid the foil touching the actual meat. Then pop it into an oven, set to 325 Fahrenheit, and let that steam cook in the oven for another 2 hours or until the brisket reaches an internal temperature of 195 to 203 Fahrenheit. But to be honest, the easiest way to tell if it's done is by spanking it. Go on now, give him a little spank. I mean, look at that jiggle. Lord have mercy on my soul because I'm about to bust. Now wrap that bad boy in butcher's paper and let it rest for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Go crack open a cold one with the boys or something while you wait. Although, at this point, my guess is you've already been doing that all day, so maybe just have a glass of water. Now, if you plan on making a classy Reuben, you can make a quick Russian dressing by grabbing a medium bowl, adding 1 cup or 210 grams of mayonnaise, a 1/3 cup or 96 grams of ketchup, 2 tablespoons or 32 grams of hot sauce. This is crystal hot sauce. 2.5 teaspoons or 15 grams of Worcestershire sauce. That was pretty good. I think I said it that time. See if I can do it again. Worcestershire sauce. Okay. 1 teaspoon or 3 grams of smoked paprika, 2 tablespoons of very thinly sliced chives, 1 tablespoon of fresh grated horseradish, and 1 clove of garlic, also grated. Season that to taste with salt and pepper. Give it some whiskey business until thoroughly combined, and that's your Russian dressing. Now look, you can enjoy this however you want, but the brisket was so beautifully cooked to utter tenderness that I actually decided to slice it nice and thick and because I like them a little on the thick side. I mean, my lord, it's juicing for us. Look at this thangin'. But hey, to each their own. If you want it thin, then slice it thin. Papa still geese. You can put it sliced over roast potatoes, chopped up atop some tortellini, or whatever you want. I decided to go the sando route with some butter toasted sourdough bread, both sides doused in that Russian dressing. Honestly, quite sporadically stacked pastrami, but hey, nice and tall. And of course, a decent layer of sauerkraut. I forgot the Swiss cheese, whoops-a-daisy, but it's still jammy. And of course, the other sauced up half of bread. Crowning our king, give it a nice slice in half to unveil its juicy cross section. And now, let us taste test both the unadulterated version and the sando version to see if this was all worth it. First off, I just flung juice all over me, and I'm happy about it. This needed an extra day to cure. This is why curing on time is important. Now, we're on a short schedule, so we had to pull it 1 day early. So for all the curing masters out there who are like, Josh, literally gets done. Thank you. Make sure it's at least 5 days, not 4. Just by looking at this beautiful, juicy, tender. Let's give it a little taste. I'm in a meadow. I smell a campfire. It's in the distance. Mommy? Mama? This is probably one of the best I've ever had, I'm not gonna lie. But we gotta try it on a sandwich. Got the Russian dressing, this sauerkraut, and we decided to use sourdough instead of rye. I know that's a little sacrilegious, but I mean, that'd be doing some stuff. This is a perfect sandwich in my opinion. You have the toast, the deep crunch. You got the sweetness, the sourness from the Russian dressing, a little more sourness from the sauerkraut. And obviously you've got this rich, fatty, perfectly smoked, perfectly brined pastrami. This is bussin' respectfully. You wanna know what else has Papa's hot, juicy meats juicing for you? B-roll. All right, guys, and that is it. So we made our pastrami, and it came out honestly perfectly. I don't want to say that it's better than Katz's. I'm just saying that this could have been an attempt for a but better, maybe. Okay, maybe not. I don't know. It's up to you to decide that. You gotta try it yourself before you make any assumptions, but all I have to say, it was very good. Perfectly juicy, perfectly fatty, perfectly tender, sweet, salty, rich. I mean, this tasted like the pastrami of my dreams, and hopefully it would for you too. Now, obviously, this is a long process. You're brining for several days, you're smoking for several hours, but you know what? That's what it takes to make a good pastrami. And if you can't get over that, well, then just buy it somewhere else, to be completely honest with you. But hey, at least you know how to make it now. So with all that said, if you enjoyed this video or you learned something, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.